Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Very short.
All right, wow.
That is fast.
Microsoft says it's 5:30.
I think you are relatively short.
It's
I'm
there.
on short
It
too,
is.
like five,
Yeah.
Five,
and
four.
five's even.
Oh, my goodness.
Very
Yep,
short.
it's there.
All right.
But this
All right.
chair-
The chair's supposed to make up for it.
We're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. If all would stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us, please.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, roll call, please.
Yes. Commissioner Kibble,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eddinger,
Here.
Commissioner Jeter is absent, Commissioner Provo,
Here.
Commissioner Botville,
Here.
Commissioner Callahan is absent, Commissioner McAllister absent, Commissioner Smits absent, Commissioner Underwood. Here. We have a quorum. Thank you.
With that, first public comment. I think you're both here for the presentation, so we'll kind of skip through first public comment because we don't have anybody else unless the young lady would like to say something. We'll get you. We're going to move on down to the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda that you like? With that, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as noted.
I'll second.
Okay. Approval by Botville, second by Jalen. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. With that, we're already down to the presentation.
Yes, our special orders of business. I'll turn to you.
Yeah, thank you. So we have the Woodland School here tonight, and in a moment we'll have them come up and give a presentation. So the background on this is when we were opening, do I need to be a little closer?
Yeah.
Camp Greilich, we have this area of the park called Wood Chip Hill, which historically was a place where kids did blacksmithing, but also has a bouldering wall and some other features that were really naturally a good fit for families with young children. And we decided that we wanted to develop that space out. We added a story walk, and then decided that it probably shouldn't just be up to the grown-ups to decide what goes in a kid's area. We reached out to Woodland School and Miss Carrie and her 3rd to 5th graders, and they came out in October, and I'll show you a picture of that in a little while as well. They came with measuring tapes and notebooks and pens and all the enthusiasm and ideas. And from that, they went back to their classroom and came up with some ideas that Miss Carrie and her student will walk you through. And then after that, I'll kind of recap and let you know what we think we can do. So I'm going to help her get the presentation up and going. And how do I display it?
Yeah, do it here.
We will do it here. Sorry, I did not turn that on previously. We'll get it all up and running here.
Okay.
Takes a minute to boot it up. HDMI is plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just power.
This happens every time.
It does. It's okay.
It's almost, we should have it on the agenda, really.
A quick share.
That's a little added.
Okay.
Oh,
Something's going.
You pull the HDMI and plug it in again for me. Apologies to those at home watching. are. All it took was unplugging it and plugging it back in. All right, apologies for the delay.
That's okay. So my name is Carrie Kergier, and with me today is Charlie Bloy. Charlie Bloy is a fifth grader in my two classes that we had that covered the playscape for Camp Graylick. And great news is Charlie went through this presentation several times and made edits. So she's going to actually lead us through it and work through the ideas that the class had. Are you ready?
Yes.
Welcome, Charlie.
Hello. Okay. Boop. Okay.
Say what we figured out was a place. What did we decide it was going to be?
So, our playscape was a naturally inspired, like, landscape, a space where children are are encouraged to engage in creative, unstructured play with natural elements in the park-like setting. This is the treehouse one. I think we should add a treehouse. Why? Is because it would be a calm place. It would have bookshelves and bean bags. Etc. Another reason it will have a big roof, so if it rains, we can play in there instead. Kids will love the treehouse so much. And then the fairy garden. I think we should add a fairy garden because they are very pretty, and it might make people joyful. Fairy gardens also have bright colors and painted rocks and stick figures that look like fairies. This is a great way to have people be included in projects. Trail markers. Why you want trail markers is because they can help you find your way through the woods, and you can go places in the woods and not get lost. Trail markers are very good for you. Ninja course. A ninja course is important because it is very fun and also it exercises. There are also many different variations of ninja courses. Tire swing. The reason we need a tire swing is it is a good core exercise for kids, and it also is fun to swing on. It is easy to install on a tree. Even broke people can install it because it is just a rope and a tire. So easy.
My favorite.
Snow area. Snowball. The snowball area should be in a boxed area so snowballs don't fly and hit people in the head. Snow area. Snowmen. We should have a snowman area because a lot of kids like to make snowmen and don't have time. Also, a lot of kids are bullied into stopping building their snowman. Sledding. Sledding is fun for you. Your kids and people. You can race your friends, and you can race your family, or you can sled by yourself. Wood playgrounds. Wood playgrounds are important because they help kids get all their energy out. They also help kids with their fine motor skills. Wood playgrounds help people have fun and make kids happy and more creative. That is why we should add a wood playground. Slide. I think that a slide would be a cool addition to the playground. Why it would be cool is because slides are fun for all ages of kids. We could put it so it is on a hill and not high up. Mud kitchen. I think it would be a good idea to have a mud kitchen because for younger kids it would give something fun to do. If their parents are okay with them getting dirty, a mud kitchen would let kids get their feelings out and smash some mud. It would give kids to have more imagination and create things out of mud and play with them. Tunnel. A tunnel would help the kids at the playground because it is a fun activity for kids. Yay!
So each of those slides were created by individual students. I led the platform and let them create. They also took a lot of time at the very beginning where they would research different playgrounds, and they looked at those, at what they saw on those, and identified different things that they might like, but also they really wanted something that everybody would participate in. And so it was something really important to them that any child with any ability is able to get into these places and have something that they can do. So they provided those opportunities like a slide on the hill, a tunnel, things that anybody in any age is going to be able to have use of, and that was really important to them. And they kept, it was the most interesting thing about this was the students really did not think of things that were really expensive. Like their main goal was like, they just want to be in there with swings and climbing on top of things. The idea of like a play structure, or so it was those, or it was like, let's put a trampoline park in the middle of it and we have a bunch of trampolines. Like it went like this like ebb and flow. But generally, the whole class was looking at spaces provided for them. That's why there's 2 sections on snow, like the idea of having a place that you're free to throw snowballs. You can make snowmen, that you can climb and swing and move through the woods was the most important thing to them. So having that designated space for them was really all they wanted. Right?
Yes.
You have questions?
As I look over to
All right. Well, Miss Carey, I'll ask you first. What's your expectations for the Woodland School maybe utilizing these spaces in the future? I think the input is certainly valued. We also, of course, want to see our community partners use these things too. Now, I know you can't speak for the school as a whole, of course, but maybe what does the Woodland School do currently in terms of engaging on the property or other properties similarly, field trips? What do those look like for you right now?
So right now, Woodland School itself has such a wide space.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of opportunity to get out and move through our space looking at that. What is hard for us is taking field trips. There's not a lot of locations to go to that you can get to in a day and back quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So Camp Great Lake is like that prime spot. When we went there, it didn't take us very long to drive there, did it? And we could do it in a quick time frame. So we can go and be back in a half day, which is just ideal. We're not losing any of that core instruction time. We're putting it into like those sciences and social studies aspects, which is something of huge value. If we can go to a space and learn in the outdoors with us, that opportunity and not take away from that full day, is something that Woodland School is going to be. I myself, having access to that and taking my students was a huge joy because it's something that's close. And even though we have similar things on campus, putting students in different spaces brings different students out. Like it's like a whole nother joy that they can bring into, and giving the opportunity to bring parents in to come help us, and then having access to those spaces afterwards, so they can.
And can I ask along those lines, do you currently engage with the Natural Education Reserve? That's that park off of Cass Road there. That's a county space, and they have programming there. Do you know if Woodland engages with that any?
No, we
Okay.
have not
Okay.
not in the
I only
recent
ask
years.
because that's similarly aligned as a local opportunity, certainly for that type of engagement. I don't think that discredits anything that you've brought here today, but we always hear good figures being used for that as a field trip opportunity too, so that's why I bring that up.
Oh, no, we
Yeah.
have not used that, at least since I have been teaching.
Sure.
at Woodland. Haven't been
Particularly the
using it.
snowshoeing.
Yes, snowshoeing, lots
They
of
did some
snowman space.
snowshoeing classes with school groups this winter.
Oh, wow.
Pretty phenomenal, a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. I have a question. Charlie, first of all, you reminded me of Sheila Ray LaBrave. Do you know that book? But you were very brave today in giving this presentation to us with these big adults here, right? But thank you very much. You did a super job as a spokesperson for your classmates. Thank you. Charlie, if there was one or two pictures that you think could be put into place as quickly as possible so that you knew and your classmates knew that you made a difference within Camp Greilich, what might you or your classmates say of all those pictures, of all those ideas? What might be something that would be really cool if you took a class trip out there and you said, hey, this was our idea? What might be one or two of those pictures?
Probably the treehouse
Uh,
or the ninja course.
Nice. Thank you for that. And again, thanks so much for your presentation, and thanks. Please share our gratitude to your classmates for giving us, all of this thinking about how we can make Camp Greilich the best place for your friends. Thank you so much.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much, Charlie.
Thank
We
you.
love it
job.
when- Great job in coming in and doing that and reading it for us, so I really
Great work.
appreciate that. Cara, I think you've got some more follow-up?
Yeah, so part 2 of this is, I'm going to get up and swap over the slideshow in just a moment. So we took these ideas back to staff and said, all right, what can we do? And so I kind of want to walk you through, to your question, which was fantastic, of all of these things, what can we do and when?
I feel like we're going to introduce the concept of municipal insurance here in a minute.
It's already open.
An E or an I?
Yes.
We have a bouldering wall, so might as well.
Treehouse.
Low treehouse.
That's true. There was no height requirement on this treehouse.
No.
2 feet off.
That's true.
Yeah, and a lot of them you
A
see.
house
are
built
over the-
around a tree is also a
Yeah.
treehouse technically, I guess. That's fair.
Kind of almost build like a deck
Yeah.
type of thing. and-
No promises on a slide off the treehouse, right?
No,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
slides you
It's really
showed are right
While we're
on
waiting
the
for this to
ground.
come up,
Yeah, those are
Charlie, I did have one question as well that I forgot about. So you mentioned that the slide can be used by kids. Can adults use the slide too? Excellent.
Excellent.
I'm in favor.
You're gonna be out there every day.
No, but we saw a picture of him using a slide.
Yes.
Working, and then it wasn't.
While we're waiting for that, I'll entertain further conversation, I guess. That I feel like I've seen some of those in other places, and I think that's a positive sign for what we could easily implement. Fairy gardens, I think we see kind of
On the
here and there.
farms, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
A mud kitchen
Mud
sounds
kitchen.
pretty cool,
Yeah.
right?
And there's some examples.
Yeah.
Natural Education Reserve has
That's
the
true.
mud kitchen.
That's true,
Yeah.
they do.
And they built an eagle's nest,
Mhm.
but it's on the ground.
I guess
don't know
that's
if you've
kind of
been
like a
to the
treehouse in a way.
Conservation District, they've got that, quite a facility off the side.
Yeah.
The fairy garden here in town would be the Botanic Garden.
Yep, that came to mind as well.
That's quite the fairy,
Mm-hmm.
fairy garden up there, so it's some cool
We're going to
examples.
reset the system.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen, municipally oriented ninja courses before as
Yeah.
well. I don't think that's out of the question.
I don't think it is.
We're just going to cover your presentation before you get it.
No worries.
Yeah, I would definitely
That's
be
a very
interested in.
interesting,
Yeah.
kind of variance on
Mhm.
some of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like that direction. I think when I think back to maybe some of what we've seen at M Parks, for example, in the vendor display, I think they sometimes have shown some of that. It would definitely more than likely be like a two-stage one where younger
starting-
kids section and then maybe a teenager section as well.
Right.
You know, there's definitely height needs in there, but I could see that being very feasible.
You know, some of the overhand ladder stuff,
Mhm.
you know, you'll see one at like 4 foot and one at
Yeah.
6 or 8 foot. you know,
Yeah.
something. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I think this is all just great ideas to get
Yeah.
everybody talking.
Tunnel, easy.
Tunnel.
Easy. I'm sure the road commission's got some extra culvert kicking around.
When you dig up, you can.
Right.
Can we take the one
Dig
from
up a
Portland?
culvert and donate.
Yeah.
We got plenty of tunnels.
Let me know when you're ready, we'll pop it over.
I did like that tunnel. Charlie,
Yeah.
did you see a hill of some sort that inspired that tunnel? You know, with, there must be a particular
Good to go.
space.
Okay, it's this.
Maybe? Yeah, because that's pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool idea, that's for sure.
And pretty easy to implement at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I think all the ideas were fair
Yeah,
ones. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's,
All right.
just-
Mhm.
and broad.
Yep.
And I liked it that there was a lot of the winter stuff in there also.
Mhm.
You know, adding to maybe that into the snowshoeing and some of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. You know, that they thought of the seasons, and that's
Mhm.
cool.
We have very positive things to say. That's good.
Okay, so technology is cooperating
Hey,
with
there
us
we go.
now. Hopefully all the pictures will load. We'll see how it goes. And I appreciate the conversation. We're all kind of on the same wavelength here. This is a picture of the field trip out to Camp Greilich. What you see in the background there, so this is on Woodchip Hill. In the background is the future site of the Mud Kitchen, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But kudos to these kids because they were so engaged and so focused on really being invested in what they see there. And it was absolutely inspiring for us to be able to participate in that and take notes. And we're, as a team, super excited to kind of fulfill these. So just to kind of orient you, so this is the Camp Greilich north part of the property, so Scout Camp Road entrance along the top. The pink oval that you see is the area that we're looking at. We like this area too for kids' stuff because it's fairly close to the parking lot and road, so a family with a stroller can access this. There is a little bit of a hill up to the area, so worst case scenario, they can drop their stroller right there at the bottom. But generally speaking, short walk. You can tell your little kids, it's 3 to 5 minute walk. It's not that far to get there. And there's an alternate route back, so you can see different things on the way back. So for completion timeline and factors, we want to be able to say, yes, we can do these now, and yes, we can do these other things in the future. And what defines the yes versus no is a combination of what infrastructure needs there are and programming and experience. So we saw this in two ways, which is kind of similar to how you described it. Some of the things they're asking for are actual physical things, and some of them are just places that are canvases for different activities. And so we think that we can pull both of those off. Easy. Fairy garden. Already got it planned, got supplies ordered. So June 13th, there'll be a public fairy garden building day. Amanda, one of our park rangers, is heading this up. We will have a number of supplies. Kids can bring their parents, and we can get stuff on site. And from June 13th forward, there'll be a fairy garden. So treehouse. Oh, sorry.
Go back to that
Correct.
just a second.
Yes.
June 13th.
Yep, 1
Okay.
to 3 p.m. And we'll make sure that this is marketed as well. It'll be in our monthly updates from camp newsletter as well as on our social media. We've got paper flyers that we've given to Woodland School, and we're happy to share around town as well.
Cool.
So, yeah, the one at Barnes is awesome, and hopefully this will turn out kind of similar. The trees out there just really lend themselves. They have many nooks and crannies where fairy houses belong. So. Treehouse. So this one is kind of a medium complexity, pricing to be determined. The picture that you see there is actually a new family playhouse out at the Grass River Natural area. And I included the text around it to show you that it's not just the treehouse itself, it's what they do with those spaces once it's there. It gives opportunities for people, for families and kids to gather in different ways in different areas. So one possibility is to do a sort of on-the-ground treehouse like this, still meets the needs of having a roof, a place to gather and be cozy, maybe not up in a tree. The mud kitchen, so we talked to our caretaker, Mark, today about a mud kitchen, and he was kind of like, what's a mud kitchen? So we pulled up some pictures and showed him, and the answer is like, oh yeah, absolutely, we can do that. So Mark and Amanda will be working on a guttering system to collect rain off the roof there into a rain barrel, so that will be your water supply for the mud kitchen. We've got pots and pans collected already. We plan to have a counter sort of food prep, not real food, mud food prep area. And so that will be able to be finished out this summer as well with minimum financial impact on that one. The trail markers we thought was an awesome idea too, and we wanted to kind of add a spin on it. So this is a picture of the trail markers at the Conservation District, the NER trail there. If you've seen the top part there, it's a pivot point, and so that board that's sticking out actually hides in that post. So it's kind of like a secret trail marker. You have to know to grab it and pull it out. So we want to try and build something like that. We think that'd be pretty fun to not just see where the fairy garden is, but you have to interact with it to see. Ninja course, agree. Good news on this, we've gotten pricing for what we're calling stage 1, and that's the pieces that you see there. So it's a, Jalen, also good news, a low balance beam and some what they call water lily balance posts. So we are able to install those, but we will purchase them professionally made to make sure that they are safe. And then we also had the manufacturer out yesterday or the day before to do a site visit and give some ideas on a larger piece, as well as what's called an embankment slide, which is what they were talking about with a slide going into the hill. So there's a lot of physics on that as far as the right slope of the hill, so that's something that they are scoping out for us.
Are you anticipating stage 1 this year then?
Yes.
Okay, and that's already in our capital improvement plan budget?
It'll be in our
operating.
budget, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
And if I could just add one thing, there's one thing that also goes with that, and that is fall protection.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of ground cover that you need to have, so we've already investigated that, and Scott is a certified playground safety inspector.
Good.
So he's got the credentials to be able to support that.
Perfect.
Lots of wood chips going on Wood Chip Hill.
Yeah,
Keep the
yeah,
kids
it's going to live up to its name.
And the other piece of it is we've got that bouldering wall. So we've talked about putting these elements kind of near enough to the bouldering wall where it becomes a contiguous course. You start on the wall and go across the balance beam or vice versa.
Is the bouldering wall on a usable stake?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Snow area, that's another one we were a big fan of. So the picture on the right there, we Googled snowball. So we've got the snowball launchers we use at Winterfest, right? But what if we had sort of permanent snowball launchers out there, or seasonal anyway in the winter, and had a snowball launching area? We thought that'd be pretty cool. And then on the programming side, what about a snowman building party or competition? So that's definitely something we think we could do in that area next winter,
Depending on snow.
depending on snow.
Not sure if we're asking questions during, but I guess
Go
I am.
for it.
I think of, and you'll probably get there when we get to sledding area too. You know, there are sledding hills in Traverse City Parks, for example, in the city parks, that they acknowledge that, yeah, you might be able to sled here, but they encourage you not to do so with signage because risk mitigation. Snowball launchers? Municipal insurance? Happy?
We'll investigate with
Okay.
with our insurance carrier.
Very good. That's,
Yeah.
that's all I ask is that I know that's a barrier we frequently encounter.
And you can also set those up where you're not launching in the direction of people. So
True.
placing a target
Targets
like
on
we
a
do at
tree or
Winterfest,
something.
so we're not going at people, you're going at a target.
True, true.
In kind of the way that they're, with the box and stuff, you've kind of got an aim that's going one direction, so.
That's true.
Now, that doesn't mean another kid couldn't go out and stand there and go hit me too, but.
That goes beyond
Yep.
our liability is the important thing. Thank you.
So some of the more complex elements, and Sledding Hill is one of the more complex ones because mainly we haven't identified a hill that's going to work for that particular purpose in that park. So there may be some things that the physical landscape of the area doesn't allow us to do. And so we are doing our best to focus on areas that lend itself to that. So that's one. Interestingly, tire swing, seems pretty easy and feasible. We're having trouble finding the right kind of tree that will work for a nice big tire swing. So that's something we need to do more investigating on. The embankment slide is something that requires some engineering to figure out. A true tree house, so this picture over here on the right is the one that John had identified as a possible, and we absolutely love it. But obviously that's a complex project. So that is in Genesee County, and that is a fully accessible tree house that has a sort of a zero entry across. Something like that would be amazing if we could pull it off. I would like to leave that in the mid to long range plans to investigate feasibility on that. In the meantime, it may be sort of one of those ground level whimsical tree houses or sheds that we saw in the earlier picture. A tunnel is another one that we'd love to do. Need to find the right location and materials to do that safely. And then I kind of just wanted to leave you with a picture. So this is out there now. We're going to be cleaning it off here in the next couple of days to get ready for the spring season. Activity's really picking up out there. But that's a chalkboard wall that we put out just right before winter. And we love seeing all of the activity out there. It tells us that people are out there enjoying the spaces. It tells us that we're on the right track and that this is a space that folks want to use. So we are incredibly grateful to you, Ms. Carey, and to you guys, all of you, for coming out and putting your time and energy into this. I hope you're really excited with what you see. Please come visit often. If the cabin's open, come stop in and say, hey. Oh, hey. Okay, yep. It's my neighbor who, his kiddo was out there on a field trip as well. And we're just excited to have this partnership. We really couldn't do this the same without you, so thank you guys.
Kara, have you shared your presentation with them? So that,
This is the first time they are seeing
okay.
it.
Okay.
So that's something that, I mean, do you think that your classmates, Charlie, would like to see Kara's presentation? Just kind of the thinking from the visit? What do you think?
She gets to tell you that you got 5 things you asked for from the government.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So good.
Any other questions for staff?
I'm just going to say I think it's a wonderful use of the area. Thinking back in my memory, that's where many years ago I used to teach new scouts skills such as ropes and tying and how to make a meal with no pan. So it's kind of continuing the use for the younger people right in the same area. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful idea.
Excellent.
I know Charlie's suggestions also included a wood playground. I don't think I saw that specifically called out in there. Are we anticipating expansion of play space out there in a playground structure as well?
So we have to pick and choose because there's not a ton of open spaces, and the conservation easement asks that we keep trees, whether they be alive or dead, in place. The one open area sort of near the bouldering wall at the beginning, we kind of have scoped out for the larger ninja course piece. So it's not a traditional playground, but would be more of playscape elements.
Thank you.
The one thing that our team did all agree on, and it sounds like they picked up on the same thing, so I'm happy to hear that, is if we were to do a playground, it would be wood and not plastic. We feel like we should keep in the look and feel of Camp Greilich specifically.
Yeah. Thank you.
Joe, I loved your comment about some of the scout things that you taught out there. And maybe that's something we can kind of try and tie in also as some of that. You know, I don't know how right now, but it just, that thought is, to bring in, here's some heritage of that happening. And I don't have a specific thing, but, teaching some of those, not rope tying, is there something in the playground ideas that we could do with knots and rope tying? You think of the Boy Scout kind of thing. So maybe we could expand this as we move forward. Not this year. Don't change what we're doing, but just can we bring a little bit more into that? So that's just a thought.
Outdoor skills is definitely something that is on our radar, and that's the kind of thing that would fit into that category. So we also need to make sure that we're introducing all these different things on a measured basis, so we have the capacity to introduce it appropriately, as opposed to trying to rather than introducing too many things in a mediocre manner, we want to focus on introducing fewer things, making it a little bit tighter, and making sure we're introducing those excellently.
I love that idea, Rod. You know, the Boy Scouts, as you know, you're earning badges. You know, wherever there is something that we've created, maybe there's an opportunity in a trail marker for that badge. You know, you lift it up and you find that in this area, you know, this is where a Boy Scout may have earned that particular badge. So it's an easy connection to make.
I think and I hope I see John writing that down.
Yeah.
I love that.
Scouting across the board,
Yes,
too,
yeah,
not
One of
just
right.
Boy Scouting.
Yep.
Yeah,
the
sure.
whole scouting.
We've been
Well, it's
talking
been
about how to
connected
interpret,
now.
how to add interpretive things in there.
Right.
And that's a great way to be able to do it. The badge, here's what happened in this space. Love it. Wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just-
those are the kinds of things that just a discussion like this, I mean, that can really bolster that park and what its history is.
I just think it's kind of nice that even without the knowledge that I gave you here tonight, you guys are using the same spot for the younger group that the Boy Scouts used for the younger groups. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Any other comments, questions? Charlie, Woodland School, Miss Carey, thank you for coming, and thank you for doing this.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll see you back.
You're welcome to stick around for the budgetary report.
wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Wouldn't appear before. Now there's no okay. I was gonna say now there's no computer and it still shows up. All right.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Consent calendar. Give you
All
a
right.
second here, but we can move on down to the consent calendar.
All right. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such request will automatically be respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file, or approval is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. 2 items under receive and file, Central YMCA March 2026 report. The second item, Grand Traverse Conservation District February 2026 report. And 1 item under approvals, item number 3, minutes of the regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission from March 12, 2026.
All right, thank you, John. With that, anybody want to remove or anything from the consent calendar? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
Motion by Underwood,
Second.
second by Grace.
Get down there, Grace.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed unanimously. Reports. We'll move down to that section.
All right, so our budget report, a few items that are appearing in the budget report under revenue. You'll notice charges for services, and that one, we haven't been using that one as much in the second half of the year, or second half of 2025, but you're going to see that start to show up again, because that represents charges for activity occurring in Howe Arena, specifically related to the electric drops. So it is show season. Welcome to show season at Howe Arena, and that's what happens there. So speaking of show season, concessions have done well in their first couple of months here, so $9.98 for concessions for the month, and then a great number in their rentals at $10,160. Again, welcome to Howe Arena show season. We've got a show going on this weekend, so the Up North Lake and Cottage show will be adding to that number for the month of April, and so that's April 10 through 12 if you're looking for something for your home or cottage or whatever. Good stuff going on there. Under expenditures, a couple of items that you'll see there that I'm highlighting. Building repair, a good size number there, $8,252. That represents a lot of work that's been done at the beginning of the year here to get Camp Gralick up and running, but get the cabins up and running. A lot of plumbing work specifically. So that's our kudos to our plumber Jason and HVAC Ben and our electricians and everybody who's been out there making sure that we can get the cabins up. And we're seeing rentals that have occurred already, and we've got rentals scheduled moving forward. So people are enjoying the space. And then contract services, that number pretty much represents porta potty pumping. So we're going to see that number drop just a little bit. Today, we opened the restrooms at Medalley Park. So that
Nice.
porta potty will make its way out of there. And then we're going to change the configurations of the porta potties that are at Camp Greilich as we get into more into the summer season, can open some of the restrooms there.
Was that anticipated, the maintenance costs at Camp Greilich?
Yeah, for the
Like,
porta potties?
For the,
Oh,
no,
well-
just the general maintenance, like
Yes.
all the plumbing? Last year, probably it was anticipated that there would be some
Yeah, and
costs
we knew-
associated with that.
Yeah, and we knew some of that would be pushed into this year.
Okay,
And that won't be the end.
fair enough.
They're old buildings. But that's a pretty significant
Mhm.
movement.
Mhm.
Any questions?
I just noticed too, we're pretty high on the number expended, I believe, for advertising. I'm not sure all what that entails. Is there a reason that we're so exceptionally percent expended
Yes.
at the point in the year?
We don't do a lot of advertising
No,
throughout the year,
it's a
but,
small
but
budget.
we, that shows up at the beginning of the year. So
Okay.
Michigan Trails Magazine is the bulk of that. We've also got some Facebook advertising out right now. That's a much smaller amount, but it is some advertising. And that's for the Paddling Film Fest.
Sure.
And then we also had one other piece that fit into advertising, which is Goose Chase, which is I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's
Any
a
day in
amazing
Medalley Park
race.
you
It's
get
that
Goose
app,
Chase.
it's the application, Goose Chase. Fun, so fun.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
app-based scavenger hunt.
Huh.
It's
So,
cool.
and that'll be throughout the parks.
But that differs from geocaching.
Differs from geocaching, yes. So this is another twist, another way to be able to
Great.
do exciting things in the park. So more to come on that one as
That's
as
exciting.
all the
And
pieces come
the
together.
educational connections that can be made there are phenomenal. We've used that in a couple of the schools I've been part of. A lot of fun. And it just generates enthusiasm beyond, particularly with student projects and all of that. It's really super cool. So I love that you're using that.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, that's our budget report. Strategic planning, Jamie's not here.
He's not here. I'd be happy to mention a couple things. So that primarily focused on Wind Dancer. So Wind Dancer is a double-masted schooner on West Bay, and we've actually done some things with Wind Dancer previously under a previous owner. Wind Dancer has come to us, and they are interested in running a six-pack. It's called a six-pack because there's only 6 people allowed on a shuttle. And so they currently have a 6-person pontoon boat, and they're interested in expanding the service that they do to Power Island and expanding that into a shuttle and to a tour service to Power Island during 2026. Now that's basically the proof of concept for them. What they're looking to do ultimately is potentially next year, 2027, purchasing a larger vessel that would allow them to expand that service.
How large is larger?
49 passenger.
Just a couple comments. Joe, I know you were there and I was there at the meeting, and Dave. So you've got that board pretty much here, except for Jamie, our chair. Very interesting. And as John said, I think everybody just realized it's a proof of concept. Will it work? They've got their Captain Nate presented quite a bit of information to us. They've done a lot of homework. He's run one of these in the Florida area for a while, moved up here, and they're trying to put it together here. So, and going forward, it looks like even they've gone out, looked at some costs. I mean, it could be quite reasonable. They're talking maybe a $50 fee for a round trip out there. So even doing some of the camping and, if somebody calls and says, I want to camp on Power Island, but how do I get there? We don't have to say swim anymore. We can. So, very interesting, and I think that's where we're at.
I have a couple questions on that while we're talking about it then. I think we always want to make sure Power Island is accessible and isn't necessarily a luxury experience. Can't say necessarily even a luxury place once you get out there. It's meant to be rustic. But $50, I think that's okay, but would we be looking at setting a price cap to make sure that it stays accessible, that it doesn't fall within a scope where a business can increase or decrease prices? Would be something that I would just be mindful of, not necessarily needing an answer on that tonight. And then just making sure, we're talking about 6 extra people on the island. I would assume capacity and everything certainly allows for that, and we don't anticipate it would be a negligible impact on the island at
No.
this time.
Based on the number of passengers that they could potentially bring, and again, this is your 2026 is proof of concept on a
Yes.
much smaller scale.
Yes.
You'd ramp that up, but the carrying capacity of the island is much larger than it is
Yeah.
today, or much larger than we are seeing today. And there would also be a fee that comes back to us, and that would help offset any additional costs, as we would have increased pumping of the restrooms, for example,
Sure.
and that sort of thing.
Another area that I just want to explore briefly, and I think, Rod, you might be the only one who might have experience on this one. That's how far we're pulling back on this.
Okay.
Is I feel like we operated at some point a shuttle, and I don't recall if that was county shuttle or if that was a partnered shuttle out to Power Island. And I believe there was a specific reason that we had to cease operating that as well. You might have info on this too.
So I can give you a little bit of background on
I was
that.
gonna
Yeah.
say,
So that was
John,
2000,
we've talked about it.
2015. We
Yeah.
did. I understand we ran a shuttle. Now, I wasn't here, so I'm piecing this together. But so my understanding was that shuttle was using the Power Island Ranger boat. We had one ranger, Fred Tank at the time, who was the captain, and he had a captain's license. And so you've only got one captain. And so that's a limiter right there. When you've got one person and only one person who can pilot that boat and transfer passengers back and forth, you're reliant on that person's schedule. So there's a limiter with the process. The other is that there wasn't really a way to conveniently schedule. So somebody would call the office and they'd say, I'm interested in coming out on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, or as an example. Okay, we'll put you down as a possible. Somebody else calls, I'm interested in coming out at Thursday at 4 o'clock. Well, can you come out at Tuesday at 2 o'clock, or can this other group come out at Tuesday or Thursday at 4 o'clock? And they try and broker an arrangement to get a critical mass of people to make it worthwhile. It's just kind of a clunky process. So all the factors combined made it not feasible to be able to continue to run that. So there's different technology in place. In this case, they'd have multiple captains. They'd have a way to be able to schedule. We're coming out on Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, or something to that effect. And so you can schedule that and make it predictable and reliable.
Did they talk about how often they wanted to run these? Is it like primarily for campers overnight,
No.
or it'd be day
3
trip?
times a day.
Yeah, when if the
Return.
concept proves out, potentially up to 3 times a day.
So there could be
And they could be,
100 people
147
on the
throughout the
on
day.
that beach.
Throughout the day, not at one time
No,
necessarily,
I
but
understand.
and it could be a 2-hour excursion, it could be a 4-hour excursion in the afternoon, so they have time to
Yeah.
go a little farther. And I think that's why I said it's proof of concept. He has some concepts in there. They're gonna try it with a 6-passenger boat, at this point, and see how it goes, and try and work through that. So it's something they'd like to grow. They have multiple captains, and so I think, that's where we're headed with that. Just,
yeah.
let's play it.
And respecting the island, respecting the landscape, respecting the wilderness feel of the island is something that's very important to
That'd
us,
be my one concern.
and we want to make sure that stays the same.
I've been thinking a lot about this because it's a really exciting opportunity. I come from the side of, I don't know Power Island, so it's hard to even provide any reasonable suggestions. I'm requesting that maybe we go out with Captain Nate at some point, or anyone who would be interested. I think it would be really, because it was a great presentation, lots of pie in the sky, idealistic, ecological, eco-tour, very valuable for the region. I think it would be a good opportunity for us to hear about it and see it while we were walking through. For me, absolutely, because I've not been, but it is a pretty exciting project. But I'm also thinking about 147 people out there, tromping through, and what is the impact on the environment? So many historical monuments around the world are being trampled because of over-tourism, and so, but I don't know Power Island. You've said that there's plenty of space, and I believe that there probably is, but I'd love to go out.
It's whether or not it's like, if they're just gonna be, and we can't predict this, I guess, but if it's just gonna turn into a crazy beach party like
Right.
it does sometimes in the summer, and there's gonna be 150 people on that beach, or if it is people like hiking and actually using the space.
Yeah.
I would,
Citizen science was what he focused on, doing some scientific experiments while you're out there. Kind of him on it doing a city bus tour, if you've ever been to a major city and they do a city bus. So he's that captain giving all this really good science, ecological-based information. Super, super cool for families. I just think it would be, I've been thinking a lot about it, but I can't project myself because I've never been out there, so it'd be great to kind of be out there with you and kind of exploring the idea together.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm going to add here is that the concept is you don't go out, drop them off, and leave them. It's a 4-hour deal where they go out and they go back. It's not like they're
That does make
dropped
a
off
I was
difference.
thinking
and then
this
picked
was
up
like a
later.
taxi boat.
Yeah,
Likewise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Okay, that is.
That's a
better.
world
one
of
trip, one
It's
route.
an interpreted, yeah.
That's
Think interpreted experience as
Got it.
opposed to beach
Okay.
party.
Experience.
Great.
And the ability, if that boat is going,
Mhm.
and there were campers
Yeah,
needing
for sure.
transportation,
Right.
that a camper,
Got it. Okay,
but,
that helps.
I
a
think-
lot.
cool.
I think it too also would help us in some ways get a handle on maybe what's going on out at Power Island in
There's,
some
like,
ways.
extra
You know,
eyes out there.
these people are, if they're going to go off on the beach, they're obviously going to have guides. They're going to have rules that they have to abide by. You know, if they're bringing pets, obviously they're going to be on leashes. They're going to be expected to clean up on them. That's perhaps in some ways a better situation than what we find ourselves in
For sure.
today in some ways. I would also just ask that maybe we consider a clause for a county resident discount actually in there as well. I think of so many people, some of our board members who have not had the opportunity to go out to Power Island, and it's I would hate for it just to be a tourist revenue focused item, instead encouraging county residents to get out there in that
Yeah.
way too.
And then one of the things that you did talk about is, the specifically in those shoulder seasons,
Yeah.
giving an opportunity for locals to be able to really experience it as well.
That would be important.
Anytime, but, continuing to run those shoulder seasons to support everybody.
Just to verify too, if that comes to us and we approve it, is that going to be approving just the first season, or is that going to be a blanket approval of further expansion?
So it depends on where we take it.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be bringing anything for this year necessarily.
Okay.
But potentially in future, for the
Great.
future.
I think, again, back to that proof of concept, play it out this year a little bit,
Interesting.
and work through it,
Yeah.
and let the strategic planning team work through it a little bit with them, and go from there.
You have to keep in mind the positive side of this is we are opening a park that very few
Absolutely.
people get to go to, unless you have your own boat.
Mhm.
So
Or arms
this is
race.
an asset or a park, or it's taxpayer dollars that maintain this facility that hardly anybody gets to go to. So having a private industry saying, you know what, we'll step and try and do this is a fantastic thing. It's a way to share that park that people have not been to before. So
Just want to add too for Commissioners Provo and Edinger, Captain Nate is planning to come back. The Strategic Planning Committee kind of asked him to come back at end of season and report out on
Okay.
what he learned, how it went, thoughts that he had for the following year, so that number one, we can get a jump on planning and getting our minds around it, and number two, get a feel of where he's at and if he's wanting to go forward with an expansion.
So just to make sure I'm clear, we are not actually signing any agreement with him or anything. He's
No.
just gonna go do this on his own, which also means we don't have kind of say over how much he's spending or how much it costs or when he's going out there. Or is he just gonna work with you guys kind of in good faith?
Yeah.
on that stuff? Okay, cool. That's fine. I just want to understand what
Yeah.
is happening.
That's a good question.
All right. So I think we've got strategic planning committee covered.
Yep.
Rules committee?
Rules Committee did meet, and we discussed a wide variety of different things. One of the key areas we were looking at first was just considering, are there any rules that need to be updated that we're meeting right now, especially with Camp Graylick in mind. There are no large enough rule modifications at this point that we believe will be presenting any rules changes at the start of the season. So we're going to wait and see if there's anything further in near the later half of the season. We find things that need to be improved. Just some minor tweaks here and there. Nothing we're sending to our Board of Commissioners for further approval at this time, though. Another area we did talk about was at the county level, there's some discussions on how to appropriately manage large gatherings on any county property, whether they be protest, picketing, any other further talks on, what large outdoor events can be anticipated, how we manage traffic. We've seen that just picking up. Certainly the city parks have. We're trying to get ahead of anticipating any needs at the county parks. It was just really good discussion. There's no rules that we feel at this time we need to bring forward or policy changes at this time that we believe we have to bring forward as a result of it. It really was a sounding board for staff just to understand some of the challenges that they could anticipate, as well as meeting greater needs that the county staff is addressing overall. John, I'm not sure if you want to add more to that?
No, I think you've summed it up nicely. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good conversation to have. I think we ended up very happy with how things are handling today. The permitting process has really been positive, I think, for the staff to utilize, and I think we'll continue as a status quo moving forward at this time.
Thank you, Jalen. Natural Education Reserve Advisory Committee, Joe?
Well, we haven't met.
Yesterday.
What?
Yesterday.
We did? I didn't remember. I don't remember the email, so I'm going to refer
right.
to John.
I
But I
will
am going
add
to
it.
remind people, if you didn't, your trees that you ordered from the Conservation District will be in next week. So if not, you got another chance in the fall. So sorry, John. I
That's
must
all
have
right.
missed that email. I
That's all right.
apologize.
So we had Boy Scout Staircase is nearing completion. We've been talking about that for a while. It's been a complicated project. I encourage everybody, once it's complete, and then we'll let you know when it is complete, go out and take a look at this. The Conservation District team has done an outstanding job recreating this staircase on a steep slope, complicated cuts, just a really, really class job of that. So I'm really impressed with the work they've done. So like I said, I'll keep you updated on that. But that should be done within the next few weeks, and I encourage you to go out and take a look at that. The other is the Ottaway Crossing, Boardman Ottaway Crossing footbridge. Work is planned to start again next week on that, and that's continuing to build the approaches and then the trail and parking lot on the east side. And they're expecting completion sometime late May with that. So, and that's the report.
Late May open?
Late May open. Assuming all goes well.
We'll move on. Jalen, T-Bay's representative?
T-Base hasn't met between meetings, only because it's coming up on this coming Monday, so
Okay.
no updates this
Yeah,
time.
we kind of,
It happens.
Road Commission representative.
Road Commission, John and I went in front of the city, and they did grant us permission to access
Oh, good.
that area, the Beitner area that we want to look at. Looks like he's going to talk more here, but
Maybe.
and then and then I know that next week on Tuesday, 14th, we have the county, the road commission, John, myself. We're going to get together and work on the next steps. But I'm going to defer now to John because it looks like he's got a presentation he wants to do.
Yeah, I just thought I'd show Charlie Height. Just thought I'd show the spot here that we're looking at. So if we can figure out how to get this on the screen.
What do you need? All displays again?
Let's do this. Off again.
Wow.
I don't see this
Well, while he's working on that, this will be wonderful to get this project done because when we do build that bridge, if you haven't fully understand, we're going to there's 2 culverts that are going to be removed. There's going to be an actual bridge put in, and it's going to be a long process. I mean, more than 2 months, I'll put it that way. We're negotiating with the state on when we can build it, and depending on when they say we can build it will depend on how long it will take. But then once that's up and running, so it'll be good to have this ready so that the folks can still access and not be in the way because there's a lot of earth that has to be moved to do this. So it's going to be nice when it's finished. Way safer than it is right now.
Joe, what's the clearance of that bridge then from the water? I mean, and I understand there's some fluctuation.
Roughly the same that it is now when you drive across, roughly. So if you were driving across, you're roughly going to be at the same height you're at
Okay.
now. I mean, give or take.
But
a
I
little
know
bit.
right now, you can't get through with the tubes or.
Well, I think some people shoot through the tubes, but I don't know. We used to in the old days, but I don't know if they do it now still. So, I mean, we looked at lots of things. I mean, we actually tried to see if we could raise the bridge to walk underneath it. The cost was just astronomical. So, I think this is the next best option, and John's got his
Yeah.
map up now.
And just for reference, I went through the tubes yesterday.
I was like, I
They're
probably
still
have to do
perfectly
those
fine,
too, so.
No webs.
Who needs to pour
Yeah.
it?
No, those are clear. All right, so what we have on the screen here is just a map showing you a couple of different things. So the roundabout here is, if you can see my cursor at the top, so top of the roundabout is Keystone Road, and bottom left of the roundabout is Beitner Road, and then the bottom right here is River Road. So right now, if I go to the very top, Olson Bridge Trailhead is up at the top of the roundabout, and at the roundabout, there's currently a fourth leg that goes nowhere. So our plan is to come off that fourth leg, route up to Olson Bridge Trailhead, meet that parking lot at Olson Bridge. And so now you'll access from the roundabout to the parking lot, and then we'll close the entrance off at Keystone Road to Olson Bridge. So you'll still be able to get into it, but you'll be able to get into it from a safer spot at the roundabout, using that roundabout what it was intended for. From there, the Boardman Ottaway River Trail parallels the river, and right now it exits down here at the south end at Keystone Rapids Park. And from there, and you go off screen here, you basically ride or walk your bike along Beitner Road until you get down to the bottom, which is about a quarter mile, and then you have to frogger across the road to get to Hoosier Valley Road. And so not the safest passing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the trail, we're going to reroute that Boardman Ottaway River Trail into Olson Bridge Trailhead. You'll come down this road, cross south end of the roundabout. We'll put a safer crossing there. And then following this red line, you'll follow down along the city-owned property, which is this parcel here. You follow down, cross in front of Beitner Park, cross the river, and then once you get across the river, the Conservation District owns a 14-acre property there. You'll be able to take that property, follow that down to Hoosier Valley Road. So we're getting people off the road with that. And then finally, Keystone Rapids Park, so on the north side here, we will end up closing that parking lot. The asphalt's a disaster at this point, but we'll close that parking lot. You'll still be able to access these trails that run through here, but you'll access those from Olson Bridge Trailhead instead. And you'll still be able to come down and see the river and such. And so that one will close off. And then the entrance to Beitner Park will close here as well. To get into Beitner Park, you'll come down down River Road, follow down to Seabrook, and then from Seabrook, there's a little turnaround right here, and then we'll have a access road that'll come down the south end of the city property and wrap into the park backwards.
And that's just to like divert traffic off of Beitner, or that turning onto Beitner?
So,
That will be the only way you'll be able to access it
yeah.
by the time we're done. I do also want to mention that the bridge that is being placed there will be considerably larger than what you see there. It's a 3-lane bridge with wide, I think they're 10-foot wide shoulders. So people will be able to actually ride their bike across there safely on that side once they get across the road. And I appreciate John doing the full line there, but we're not exactly sure where that's going to cross yet. We have to do the safety engineering questions that have to go there. There has to be certain things done, but
Yeah. So this is a rough sketch
Yeah.
of that. There's more to be determined, but that's the basic idea of trying to get people off the road and trying to get less than desirable intersections off there as well.
The blue road and the yellow road,
Yes.
those are going to be paved, I imagine.
They will be gravel.
those are trails.
Oh, these are trails.
That's trails. That's connecting the
Those are
Tart
trails, you're right.
east,
I'm
west,
sorry.
or whatever
The
trail.
road coming off
Yeah, the
of
blue is
yeah.
the gravel going to the parking lot.
the
Yeah,
road
but the
going-
red is the trail.
Okay, the one exiting the roundabout. Paved or gravel?
The red?
Nope, the one that's going up to Olson Trailhead.
All right. The
Gravel.
The blue
Okay.
going up to Olson Trailhead is gravel.
Okay,
All right. The red coming down from the roundabout
yes,
to Beitner Park, that is a footpath.
yep,
And then the yellow is gravel.
okay,
So no paving.
okay. That was my question, was gonna be, expense related to paving is exceptionally high, where that was coming from. I'm not as worried of gravel.
And the Olson parking lot and the little road and everything is currently gravel
Mhm.
anyway.
Yes.
So, I mean, that doesn't change much. And actually,
Yep.
it's gonna be nice not having people coming in or slowing down to get off Keystone
Yeah.
at that spot. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's kind of a dorky spot.
That's the intention, is that you've got cars moving, cars coming in from Olson Bridge. It's just it's a less than desirable
hard to park.
intersection.
Do we anticipate people parking along the yellow road, or will we
No.
not allow parking there?
Will not allow parking. there.
Okay,
Won't be
Just-
wide enough for that.
okay, good, thank
Now,
you.
the parking lot down at the end of the yellow road, that little parking lot.
It's always
will
busy.
just stay the same.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, it's gonna be the same parking lot we have today.
Okay.
And that is paved.
That is paved.
And when we get this all done and the bridge is in place, the road commission is gonna sit down with the county about who's actually gonna own that 5 acres right there, so.
Sure.
Technically, we have a park on road commission land, which the lawyers are a little excited about.
Well, wait till they hear the history of Medalley Park, right?
So,
All right.
Thank you both very much on that.
Talked about the road commission. Thank you, John. Joe, thank you. Drain commissioner representative is not in attendance, and the county board rep is not here tonight, so I think we're done with reports, until we get to the director. John, you got anything additional?
I've got a couple things here. So at a recent strategic planning meeting, the name came up, or a gentleman's name came up, Jordan Owen. So Jordan Owen came to our commission about a year and a half ago and had an interest in putting a historic marker on Bassett Island.
Yes.
I reached out to him, have not heard back yet, but just wanted to let you know we have reached out to him, and we'll kind of revive that discussion and see where we go with that one. We closed the bid process this week for the NER overlook structures and replacement of those. We're currently in review with bids, and we've got at least one that we're going to be reaching out to. Bids range anywhere from $129,000 to $224,000 for the project. So quite a wide swing in those 3 bids. And so we'll be reaching out and having some conversations and then coming back to this commission in May with more information. Parks signage is also in development. We approved that previously. We are going to be seeking a variance for the sign at the north end of Civic Center Park. So the city, the way that sets up, the city's requirement for signs is 8 feet high, or no higher than 8 feet high at 40 square feet of sign space. You can go higher than 8 feet, anywhere from 8 foot 1 inch up to 15, but the square footage drops down to 30. And so the sign that we're proposing is larger than that. It is also a large park, and we believe that there are a number of reasons that would benefit the park and the park's guests in having that sign and making sure that we have the opportunity to adequately show people or describe to people what is happening in that park and to make sure that people know that that park is there. So we'll be seeking a variance on that one. So that'll be coming in May, I believe it is. Yeah.
And I think maybe the point that it's one sign for pretty much a full city or more than a city block. I mean, it's
Yes.
not like we'd be putting other signs or hotels one right after the other kind of situation. I mean,
Right.
they're gonna put one main sign.
Yeah, signs that's too small wouldn't give people the opportunity to adequately see what is happening at that
Yep.
park. And then, yeah.
Does that need to come to us before we, like, do we need to approve you guys? Okay, good. I was just making sure you had what you
Yeah.
needed to do.
Nope, we're all good with that. And then South Building progress. So today we had our meeting for the South Building. We're going to talk a little bit more about the South Building here in just a little bit. We did choose block colors for the South Building, so when you leave, there are 3 samples over here, so you're welcome to take a look at those. I didn't want to pass those around because someone's going to drop a block on their computer. But we did choose those today. So And then we'll be talking amendments and exhibits here in just a couple minutes in new business. And then a couple more things, Medali Park. We are going to be paving Medali Park. That is scheduled to begin April 20th, assuming frost laws are off at that point. And so we're super excited about that. There are some car-eating potholes in there, and we filled those potholes last year. They all came right back. It is time to replace that lot. So April 20th on that one. And then, what else did I have here? You may have probably seen the news just recently with Shorts Brewing and Keen Solutions teaming up and purchasing the east side of Logan's Landing. So the intention is to bring Shorts Brewery there, their third location. So that can be an exciting addition to that area and continue to revitalize Medali Park. The National Civilian AmeriCorps. The AmeriCorps members from NCCC are going to be joining us on April 22nd. So when you come out to the Paddling Film Festival on April 22nd, you'll have an opportunity to meet the members of that group who are going to do fantastic things for us at Camp Greilich. That's my report. Yes?
Speaking of Medali Park there, firstly, I did also see the local media piece on that. Very exciting. Have you reached out to any parties just to see, introduce yourself as a neighbor and, appreciate the fact that they have a park next to them as well?
Yes. So I know them. So
Sure.
we've had an opportunity to talk already and
Great.
welcome them to the neighborhood. And they've got great ideas, and we'll continue to work together.
When I think of, too, oftentimes I think our partners have talked about Vince's Jewelers kind of lending parking space over the past few years as well. Now, we don't necessarily need to expect that to continue, but what are your thoughts in general on the parking situation in Medali Park as it relates to changes in ownership?
So when appropriate, they've already made that opportunity available. So, for example,
nice.
April 20th, we're going to be doing paving in Medali Park. People aren't going to be able to park in that lot at that time. So Tim, one of the owners of Keen Solutions, he and I had a conversation about sharing that parking for that time. It's absolutely no problem.
That's
So
great to hear.
yeah, very community-minded.
Good.
The huge community-minded, and those guys, I think the press has got it right, and a lot of the comments are right. That group is, I also sit with Tim on a couple other boards, Hickory Hills and others, and it's all about, they knew what they were buying.
I'm glad to hear that.
We just aren't going to put shorts in the asphalt, that's all.
Well,
I thought
well,
we
there's
did.
always naming opportunities available within the county. Let's not rule anything out. My final question on Medali Park was it's spring. Medali Park gets exceptionally wet and perhaps very waterlogged this season, at least on the days of which I was observing it. What were our overall impressions on the water situation in Medali this year? We struggle with that every year, I know.
Yeah, hasn't been too bad.
Okay.
The trees that we've planted, the intention for those trees is to soak up excess water. Now, they won't all just suck it up like a sponge. It's not a magic bullet, but we've planted a lot of larger trees and then a lot of smaller trees, so over time we'll continue to see more and more volume taken up by those. And then the rain garden that the students from Greenspire School, it's doing its job. It's doing exactly what it should.
Great.
So we're very happy with how it's coming along.
Thanks, John.
Sure.
John, just wonder about you had mentioned that there were several awards that were given. I think it's when you went to the MParks conference and you were
Yes.
going to investigate that. And every meeting, I keep hearing all the amazing things that you're doing. And you don't have to share today, but, in the next couple of meetings, it would be great to hear, what your investigation has uncovered. Because I think there's so many good things that you're doing within the parks that I think that highlighting it with a nice plaque and an award would be nice.
Yeah, our team's doing good work. They're a very talented bunch of folks. So.
All right. Thank you, John. No old business to be had today. I'm going to move on down to new business. We're going to talk a lot about a new garage.
Yes.
So,
So Bobby Piplinski, the CFO for Cunningham Limp, is joining us today. Bobby was here at the last meeting as well, and we introduced the base agreement. If you remember, there's two pieces to this. So there's a base agreement that gives the basic construct of the program, and then the amendments and the exhibits that are kind of add the second piece to that, along with the guaranteed maximum price. So I won't steal all of your thunder, Bobby. I'll let you come on up and talk GMP and exhibits.
Steal a little bit of space here. All right. Good evening, everyone. Bobby Piplinski with Cunningham Limp, located here in Traverse City. Thank you for the introduction, John. As he mentioned, we're here today to present the design build amendment for the Civic Center South building. I do want to start with just a general congratulations to the Parks and Rec team, the group that was put together, as well as this group here. We went from a start of an RFP process generally in November of last year, going through the selection process, to being ready to put a shovel in the ground in April. That is not a small task. It takes a lot of dedication and time, decision making, staying on a process to get through that. And just want to congratulate the team to get to this point so quickly. So kind of just taking a quick glance back before I jump into what we're going to present today. Kind of important to look to how we got to this point. So we had the RFP process that was generally carried out in November. At that time, it was, what would a renovation of that building look like? As we were responding to that, we had the thought that, well, you really should compare what a renovation of that building would look like versus a new construction of a building. Oftentimes when you're renovating something, you're spending more on design cost. It takes more time to design it because you need to know everything about that building. And it can cost a little bit more to go through that entire process. So what we did find was the difference between a renovation and a new build was very close. Coming out of that understanding, there was then a supplement to that RFP to take a look at, okay, now let's really focus on what a new build would look like. In response to that, there was a few different looks at layouts. Generally, we landed on a layout that kind of simplified the overall structure of the building. It allowed for a little more square footage, and Cunningham Limp as design builder was selected based on that moving forward. So typically when you go through a design process, you're going to do conceptual drawings, then design development drawings, and then construction drawings. Essentially, by the time we were selected with the RFP, we already had our concept drawings ready to go. So schematic design was ready to go. We could jump right into going into DDs, and we did. We went through that process, got through DDs, looking at what design development drawings generally looked like in January, had a stop and a budget check-in at that time. We were still on track budget-wise. Things were looking good. So at that time, we also considered some alternates for the project that we wanted to take a look at for pricing. As long as budget was looking good, what could we achieve in this project and still stay within the budget? So we looked at some of those alternates, and as we went into construction drawings, PIA as the architect designed the building, but also designed a few things for alternates. So we got to the point of construction drawings being done by the end of February, and that started really a key step in the process where we go through a competitive bidding process where we're going to bid out every aspect of that project to the lowest, most qualified subcontractors to perform that work. It's an open bid process. Anyone can respond to it. We sent that out to the market, got a great response on the open bid process, and got very competitive numbers. So a great result through the competitive bidding process where they bid the base scope as well as some of these alternates. So now we knew, all right, if we went with just the base scope, here's what our guaranteed maximum price would be. Here's the list of alternates that we still wanted to consider if it could be incorporated within the budget. So we had all of our competitive bidding process completed by March 24th, essentially, and we did our internal review, and then we had a meeting with the Parks and Rec group on March 26th to review that guaranteed, that budget that leads to the guaranteed maximum price. Purpose of that meeting was, let's look at the budget and then let's consider these alternates. Today, we're now going to present what that guaranteed maximum price is in this design build amendment based on the decisions that were made in that March 26th meeting. So, in the packet, we have the design build amendment. It's Exhibit A to the agreement that we presented and signed back in the February meeting. No, March meeting. So in the March meeting, we signed that base agreement, which set up our terms, had everything laid out for us. That way, when we were ready to present our guarantee maximum price, all we needed to do was complete this design build amendment, which incorporates your guarantee maximum price, the number of days that we have to complete that project, and then the suite of exhibits in support of that guarantee maximum price that define the exact scope of work that we are going to achieve within that guarantee maximum price. And that's essentially that document that we're going to review and approve today. So in this design build amendment, our guarantee maximum price that we're proposing for the project is $1,178,000. Within that, because the competitive bidding process resulted in great results, the design decisions that were made were well thought through. We considered the alternates for how things could be designed to save money and how we went through things. The simplified layout, the sloped shed roof, various design decisions that were made allowed us to stay within the budget and then also select basically all of the alternates that we had on the list that achieved the goals of this project that we were really striving to do, but still stay within the budget that we were targeting. So just a few of those. Snow melt for the building was incorporated in. It's a tremendous thing for ongoing maintenance as well as safety. The snow melt will cover that open area that enters into the garage, so we're able to incorporate that into the project. We have a standing seam metal roof on the building, which, in my opinion, looks fantastic, but the bigger piece to that is maintenance and longevity of the building. A standing seam metal roof like that will long outlast a shingled roof and has far less maintenance to it. So we're able to incorporate that within it. A bottle fill station. We now have a full canopy coming out over the bathrooms. So as you're using those restroom facilities, there's a canopy there if there is any inclement weather to be able to tuck under, as well as protects against snow buildup in front of those restrooms. We did incorporate significant additional square footage within the project. When we first looked into the new build and the simplified layout, we were looking at something around a 2,000 square foot building. We're now at a 2,600 square foot building, which was not frivolous. As we went through the design process and we looked at what is being stored within in the garage, equipment-wise, we were seeing, based on the layout we had, you could fit everything in there, but trying to get between any of those vehicles and the supplies and the equipment in there, you couldn't really do it. So if you wanted to get to something, you could potentially have to pull out the truck to be able to move something around. So we were able to increase that square footage. Now you got great circulation within that garage, as well as increasing room in your shop and your storage space. We've also incorporated a full ADA bathroom with an adult changing station. That is a full-size electric adult changing station. So anyone that needed that service, they can use that now if they were in the park. It goes up and down with full motorized, so you could utilize that for anybody that needs it. As well as, there was one other thing that I did want to hit on. A couple smaller things between a trench drain with an oil separator, which is great to have. You don't want any of that being potential to leak out into the environment. So we have that trench drain with the oil separator. None of that will get into the septic or the sewage system. Eye wash station, air conditioning, air compressor with drops. a lot of the things that were needed for the project have all been able to be incorporated within this guarantee maximum price. So, budget-wise, that's where we stand. High-level scope, that's where we stand. I know that last time we did take a look at drawings. I believe kind of the more of the visuals of it that John presented on. I think that was in the February meeting. Generally, the look of the building stayed pretty similar. You'll get a chance to see the burnished block colors that have been selected. So for the most part, the exterior of the building still looks pretty much the same, but we can spend any time if you have questions about specific design decisions or scope that's within it. But the packet overall, what we incorporate into this is the exhibits in support of it, which is a written specification. That's Exhibit C within the packet, which is a written out scope of further defining the project based on the drawings that are there. Then we give a written narrative. So if you wanted to know, the painting that's expected, you can go to the interior finishes section, look at the painting, and know that we have a primer and a finish coat of latex paint within the building. So it's kind of your written guideline of what the scope is. Exhibit D is then the list of the contract drawings. So PIA prepared drawings as well as a civil set by Spicer Group. Those drawings are incorporated within this agreement through this exhibit. So we have to perform the scope of work to those drawings. And then we have Exhibit E, which is our project timeline, which I will circle back and talk about a little bit more. Exhibit F is then the schedule of values, which gives you a breakout of all of the scope of work that leads to that guarantee maximum price of $1,178,000. Because this is an open book guarantee maximum price, we break out each of the scopes of work so you can see where those dollars are being spent in comparison to the bids that we received. And if there's any questions about any of the specific line items in there, I can go through any of that and answer it. And then the insurance certificate that we provide clarifies that we have the insurance requirements from the agreement, as well as naming the county as an additional insured on our insurance. And then the final piece to this is really tied to your legal review. We have the final document in there is titled the Amendments and Supplemental Conditions to the Standard Form of Agreement between Owner and Design Builder. So as we were finalizing the scope of the work and the guarantee maximum price, we were also finalizing any of the terms that were being negotiated between the county and the county's attorney with Cunningham Lemp. Thankfully, this was a pretty simple process because we're generally using the same terms that we are for Project Alpha that we just signed an agreement on. So we had a baseline for what those terms would be. This document was prepared by the county's attorney. We agreed to what those terms were, mirrors generally the same legal terms that were agreed to in the county project. So that's the makeup of the full packet. Circling back to schedule, the one thing that I would touch on is originally we had talked about, all right, let's hit our deadlines, and the plan was we start construction when spring allows us to, and the goal was to be done with it by the end of June. What we have run into is, while a terrific selection of burnished block that will be used for the building, it does have a longer lead time because it's not something that you just go pick up off of the racks in the field. This is specifically manufactured for the project based on that color and that specific burnished block. So it has a little bit longer of a lead time. We talked about that with John and his team, and it was agreed that doing the building the right way and what we want for a long-term, 50-plus year building was more important to do it the correct way versus going and just picking up any block and potentially painting it, which is a maintenance nightmare for the long term, and going that route and trying to be done by the end of June. So that is the one change, I think, from where we started to, is now we're looking to be done by mid-July as opposed to being done by the end of June. And that's really just based on the long lead time. So happy to answer any questions about the scope, about the documents, about the drawings, any specific numbers, anything you would like to know more about.
I could mention just a couple of things with that. So you mentioned the masonry block purchase. And so one of the things that we're looking for from this commission is to ratify a purchase amendment that we executed for
72 grand, it looks like.
54? Is it?
Yes.
72, yeah, 72, yeah, right. Yeah, the $72,000. It's very similar to the document that you'd executed previously to allow them to keep moving forward on some of the work. This allowed us to move forward with that block purchase, so it didn't push us into late August with that. So we're looking for a ratification of that along with the rest of the documents. There's a couple of other nice maintenance touches that were made on this. Small things that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but making sure that there's specific hoses that were added from the water fountain into the mechanical room that allow us to easily blow out the water from the water fountain. So you can make this complicated or we can make it easy. We got one shot to build this thing. Let's make it as easy as possible for everybody to make those things happen. Another thing that's going to happen, it's not in their scope of project, but it is something that's within our scope of project, is the west side wall. It's going to be a large wall, and that is going to host a mural. So once this building starts to become looking something like a building, we'll start to go out to bid for that process. So then people who are potentially bidding on that opportunity to do a mural at least can see some vision with that space. And regarding the adult changing station, this is the only restroom with an adult changing station regionally. So that's going to be a great addition to the property. We do have a number of folks that would benefit from that who come on property, and we'll see that get good use. So.
There's 3 bathrooms, and one of them will be that dedicated adult changing station. Larger, almost more like a family bathroom situation. I know Bobby mentioned the snow melt. The snow melt will be under those bathrooms and under that canopy.
That was interesting to see.
This will make that bathroom super for all year round.
And the amount to add, the additional amount for that was minimal for the long-term benefit that we'll gain from it.
Jen, I guess just like your overall thoughts on how you feel this is going and how you and the department feel in terms of like timelines and budget, just your general thoughts.
I can say this, at least from my perspective. I'll let you add anything as well. I am absolutely thrilled with the work that Cunningham Limp, that Partners in Architecture have done, the way that the entire team has come together from their sides, so Partners in Architecture and Cunningham Limp, and then the team on our side, a cross-discipline team within the group. We've got representatives from all throughout the county. Construction code, for example, they've been very, very helpful with the entire process. So very, very pleased with not only the speed, but making sure that this is done right. Bobby had mentioned that we got one shot at doing this, and we want to do it right. I'm not going to saddle future me or future anybody on this with painting a block building. Just not going to happen. So let's make sure we do this thing right. So,
Excellent.
but a lot of good thought.
Yeah, I would echo that. I would say these meetings that we've had, which we've been meeting regularly on a weekly basis, have been probably some of the most productive, especially when you're considering that there's multiple agencies involved. Everybody has consistently left their egos at the door and comes collectively to problem solve, which I've found very refreshing and rewarding in how fast we've been able to move through this. Would I have loved to see this building open in June, right when school gets out? Yes. Am I willing to sacrifice for the long-term benefit of the project a couple of weeks over a summer so that we can have something long-lasting that looks fantastic? Yeah, I think we made the right decision.
From day one when I came here, I want to replace those restrooms, and we're at that point now, and it's really exciting to be at that point.
We're not putting your name on a stall, don't worry.
I don't need a name. It's not the Larry somebody Memorial Restaurant at the Minneapolis airport. No, don't do that.
I had a couple questions here too, no surprise. Was there anything that came up in any of the conversations between staff and Cunningham Limp when looking at the big picture of this building that maybe just couldn't be included in the scope that we have today, or were there any things that maybe this isn't the right spot for that type of need in the park? Was there anything that you said no to, essentially?
A $4,000 hose reel.
The golden hose reel.
Sure. Though that sounds like a standard government hose reel.
We saw that, we're like, that just doesn't seem right. There were a couple of other small things in there, and I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were minor things, and then they didn't really add value to the project. And we opted to choose to move those out. But the add-ons that we wanted to be able to include in the project that did truly add long-term value, we were able to incorporate those all within the budget.
Yeah, John, one for example that we did, the metal ceiling in the shop space. There was things that were proposed, you know, a metal ceiling, the idea of it, it has some longevity and easy to clean if you're working in a shop space, but there's alternate ways to do that where you can, you know, put a layer of paint over top of that provides the same service. You don't need the look of a metal ceiling in that shop space. So there was cost-conscious decisions that were made in this project where it was, you know, doing something that was beneficial, but there was an equally beneficial way of doing it at a better price. So a lot of that was evaluated through the process.
I would just add one more thing to that, which is that through this process, John and Chris Como, Deputy Director of Facilities, were juggling in their minds the idea of Project Alpha and the Cobb building. So some of the facilities operations will be moving there, and they were very careful to not duplicate functions or pieces of equipment or needs that can be met in that location. So really being conscientious of this is the grounds for Civic Center Park, so there are some things that will be located on Lafreniere that we don't need to duplicate also at Civic Center.
Sure.
John, I didn't mention as well, but within this project, it also includes the cost for us to do the site work associated with the pump track. So that is a separate scope that's also within this guaranteed maximum price. We are achieving the site grading for the pump track that will be installed in the future.
Yeah.
They've got equipment on the ground
As well.
at the time.
I believe they call that synergy.
Oh, it's, I sat through a few of these meetings. I had to sign the $72,000 to get the block.
Yeah.
I will tell you, absolutely amazing. They started right with and when we're talking about additional square footage, Bobby and the team gathered from our folks, and it wasn't just John, it was his staff, of what equipment was gonna sit in that room and what size that equipment was. And I'll never forget, you couldn't open the door on the truck on the left-hand side because we had a Toro mower or something parked next to it. And those were the kinds of things that, and then they would look at it and they'd go, well, yeah, but if we square this wall off and don't make a cut here, guess what we can do? And those were the kind of things that just, it was fabulous. And I think it's a lot of money, but there's a lot included in this. And the little stuff like the block, never have to paint that building. Go over and feel that block. It is incredible. So it's the stuff that we need out there, standing seams.
And some of those decisions that you were talking about with just changing the configuration of the building, those are all iterations that came out of the meetings. And they not only provided more space, for example, but they also did that at a lower cost because you have fewer cuts in the building.
Perfect.
I think it's also important just to take note. Can you remind us of what the original allocated funds for the MDEC grant and the capital funds were?
Yeah.
Because I know we're at 1.178 today.
So we've got a total of about 1.9 roughly for the three parts of the project. So $475,000 of that, I'm sorry. Yeah, $475,000 of that is the pump track. There's about $150,000 that was originally allocated towards the two signs. And then the remaining $1.3 million ish, somewhere right in that area, was for this particular project.
So we are below anticipated.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that very often.
Right.
Final question then too, and I'm not sure how you track it, but I'm sure you're kind of used to the ask is local economic impact of the project would be nice to see. Doesn't have to be right now, but it can be when we're done.
Yeah.
Number of local employees that were supported by the building is always something that is good to see at a governmental level.
Yeah, absolutely. I will come back with the stats because I don't have it in front of me right now, but in the same way we did for Project Alpha, we did the bid results on that. We had over 120% response rate for the bids, which your standard average is to get 3 per discipline. So we were hitting above those targets. But on Project Alpha, we calculated of the overall project how much of that is going to local contractors, and I can provide that same statistic here. I do know off the top of my head some of the bigger, and now I want to put an asterisk on this because we have not done final negotiations with subs, so I don't want to hamstring myself in a public meeting. But some of the bigger scopes of work that are part of this are currently the most qualified bidders are local contractors. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure I can think of somebody that is coming out of town to perform work on this project. So
That's
Yeah,
great.
everybody we've talked about has been local so far.
yeah, yep.
Well, you have taken the liberty of at least writing a recommended motion this time,
Yes,
and
we
I'm
have.
going to take the opportunity to make such a motion. I will make a motion to accept the guaranteed maximum price, ratify the masonry materials purchase amendment, approve the design build amendment, seen in Exhibit A, and all exhibits, and authorize the president to execute all necessary contract documents between Grand Traverse County Parks and Recreation, the owner, and Cunningham Limp Construction Manager, as constructor, and to proceed with the construction of the south building replacement at Civic Center Park.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Provo.
I will ask for a roll call vote, just do the
And a
dollar
second
amount.
by, there's support by Underwood. Roll call vote, please.
One moment.
Just because it's so much money. Why not?
Commissioner Underwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Botville,
Yes.
Commissioner Provo,
Yes.
Commissioner Edinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Kibble.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Fantastic. Thanks to the staff and for Cunningham Limp for making it so smooth and easy from, I think, the commission side. Can't ask for better than this.
These guys really did a good job, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you.
And thank the team out there. I know your side, there's quite a team, and it really was quite fun to join their meetings when I could, because it was all about, here's the focus, and they're getting it done, so,
Well, it's not done yet.
well, they're getting it done.
But you look at the Gantt
Now the
chart,
fun
and
part starts.
we've completed over half the items
Yeah,
on the
it
Gantt
looks-
chart.
Yeah.
And so the mobilization is scheduled, pending frost laws and all, but mobilization is scheduled for April 21st. We'll start to see equipment on site with completion July 24th.
Really great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
With that, moving on, second public comment, there's nobody in the room, so I think we can move by that. Notices and commissioner comments.
I
Galen?
actually have something to add to there. I recently conducted a site visit to Camp Great Lake, actually, and had the opportunity to just walk the trails and enjoy our newest park out there. It was great to see. I did also have the opportunity to speak to one of our volunteers that day. I believe her name was Anne, and was very surprised to see already volunteers out there and engaging with visitors and all that we have going on out there. So really happy with the progress we've made. Kara, I was hoping that you might be able to speak a little bit more to the volunteer program, as I was somewhat surprised to encounter somebody that day.
Sure. So the volunteer program has been growing very slowly and very steadily. So this started with one community member who lives right across at Spider Lake, who's been engaged early on in the process and had kind of sat with us. First of all, shared her knowledge from the Land Conservancy, where she was a volunteer for a long time, and talked to us about expectations that she has as a volunteer for having a satisfying volunteer experience. One of our concerns was just staff capacity to make sure that volunteers feel well supported. We didn't want to get ahead of our skis and ask folks to come and do things and then not be able to kind of fulfill our side of the bargain. So we spent a couple of months planning that out, and then she kind of piloted with us, coming once a week, and then she brought a friend, and now her friend, Anne, is also coming once a week, so they come on different days. We have a couple of different roles out at Camp Greilick. One is what we call the camp host, who's typically in the office. We have the open sign that we put out front when we've got staff or volunteers there so that people know they can come in and ask questions. We do get a lot of questions about maps. We get visitors from neighbors. In fact, we had some neighbors out today, disc golfers, people wanting to do programming or renting space, so all of those things. So we make sure that our camp hosts are trained in how to answer those questions and that they communicate back with us if they don't know the answer. It's been really helpful to hear the feedback that they get and the questions they get. It's just more eyes on the ground. So some things that we haven't anticipated, we're like, oh, we should put something out about that so people know. The other thing that we plan in the future is a camp guide, so somebody that could potentially take guided walks around the property, show people the history. And then sort of, I'm blanking on the third.
No.
So
Steward.
essentially steward, thank you, that can scout out the trails and let us know if there's downfall. So actually Ann was out today, and since it was beautiful out, instead of opting to be a camp host, she was a camp steward, walked the trails for us, came back and reported that there was no major downfall. We had a couple of trail markers we need to repair, so it really gets us eyes on the ground in the park. We've got volunteer shirts coming to offer some swag for those who have given 10 hours of service. And then the other piece of our volunteer program is our work bees and group projects. So coming up on April 25th, there's a scout work bee that is open to the public. The scouts usually bring 50 or 60 folks. They'll be doing a spring cleanup out there. We try to model that same type of project at Civic Center. We find that it's tough unless somebody has a passion for that park, or if it's a group that already has decided they want to do a project together. It was tough to just build a volunteer base out of nothing. So what it's taken is people who are already engaged with that space for one another. And so far, I think it's going really well. It's great having them out there and having a different perspective.
And it seems like they're operating out of, there's a building, I'm not sure if cabin's the right word for it, more of an office space. They're right at the parking lot too, so they were able to engage with people visiting the park right there at the front. Is that the same building that the restrooms are now in then as well?
So they're in, we do call it cabin, we call that one Eagle
Okay.
Cabin, and Mark, our caretaker, has put up signs with the cabin names and numbers on all of them, so it's easy to navigate. We chose that cabin because it has the best visibility of the parking lot. As far as restrooms, the public restroom availability is still just the porta potties in the parking lot, but we are opening up the ones up on the hill near Dan Beard probably at the end of this month.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's nice that the staff has an office space. I think they said you've got a little corner over there even as well, so it's clear that staff's going to be present out there at the camp too. It was nice to see. Yeah, thank you. That's all for my comments.
Any other commissioner comments, questions? If not, we are adjourned.
Great.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
Thank you.
great evening.
Thank
and
you.
Approvals and
Enjoy the improving weather.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, it was beautiful
We
today.
can get outside and walking and hiking and biking, all that good stuff.
Dave, your question?
I will say there were a couple issues when I went out to the